All I'm hearing is that Dohwa has calculated.
He didn't get caught, unlike Wild.
Hey, those are the ones that are.
He actually does have a fan base.
Ain't nobody dedicated.
Mayhem. Mayflops.
Welcome back to another round of Webtoon Versus, where we take one Webtoon character and pit him against another Webtoon character.
My name is Acel Byzantine, and I'll be representing Dohwa from Operation True Love, and Jero will be representing Jaehwan from Lost in Translation. In Operation True Love, there is a love point system that determines how much someone could be loved. On the right is the total amount of love someone can receive in their entire lifetime. On the left is how much they've actually accumulated. It is loosely based off idol culture, so it could be considered like, I guess, a popularity contest. And today we're going to be deciding who would have more love points. Operation True Love is about Sue, who's getting out of this wacky relationship from a guy who cheats on her, and meets Dohwa and Yeonhyuk. And she's an anomaly in this love system, but is somehow in a love triangle. Dohwa, who's rumored to be living a rich lifestyle and being an idol trainee, he's like the Edward to Yoonhyuk's Jacob. Sue discovers that he has the possibility of having 7.8 billion love points.
My character is Jaehwan from the Webtoon series Lost in Translation. So while Dohwa is an idol trainee, my guy is already a part of a boy group. And he is a part of a 4-person boy group called Mayhem, and in that group he is called Wild. So while Jaehwan is already a part of a very successful boy group, his reputation is kind of interesting. When he's featured in the paper, it's not always a good thing. He's infamous for having these scandals with girls. But what I've noticed while reading this webtoon is that his personality and what they say in the papers don't exactly align. And I personally think that Jaehwan's love points are pretty comparable to Dohwa.
Since like episode 1 of Lost in Translation, he's stricken with this controversy for like inappropriate behavior. He was kind of like bad moment, wrong time. It negatively affected him. And based on Sue being able to lose points, that should be something that should be considered when looking at him. If you're considering maybe he has high points, it may have lowered at some point.
My guy obviously has a scandalous reputation, but you gotta remember that Dohwa isn't exactly a saint. As early as his introduction, we see that most of the people in the community, besides his fangirls of course, kind of see him as a delinquent considering he hangs out with the wrong crowd in certain instances. And his first interaction with Sue isn't exactly the friendliest interaction.
Okay, but clock this T though, he wasn't caught. He didn't get caught, unlike Wild. See, with my guy, everyone just listens to him. Even the teachers, I think he could easily just wheedle his way out of it. You know, training takes maybe a few years. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna forget, okay, that maybe he wasn't the greatest person, but Jaehwan, you know, that shit is stuck to him forever. I think it's also a good thing to consider that, well, his group is a flop. They only have one video with over 1 million views. They had a fan signing as well. Not a lot of people were there. You know, something to consider. There isn't really much going on for him.
I won't deny that they are flops in the beginning of the series, but think of it this way. You're citing a very early on episode. I feel that they're going to grow as a group, and as they grow, his popularity will grow. We see in Operation True Love that love points aren't just based on a person liking somebody. It's also based on jealousy and obsession. While Wild may not have most of the love, he has the jealousy. People look at those articles that are going out about him, and I'm sure that people are jealous of him. And if we're gonna dig into the obsession part, he did have a dedicated stalker.
Let's be careful with the term dedicated. Last visible fan sign, there was like 95 people. I counted. We say stalker. Stalker is 1 versus 93,000 people. I don't know. Mayhem is in debt. No one's buying their music. No one's really supporting them at all. When we say jealousy, you know, it requires someone to want what they have. People just want him dead because they think he's perverted. He was receiving like a ton of hate mail, death threats as well. I don't know about jealousy. I don't know about that. Y'all broke. Flops. Losers.
So you see, yes, he is getting death threats, but that's still kind of in the ballpark of obsession. These people are very obsessed with him to the point where they feel the need to go out of their way and do things. But if we're going to dig into the actual personality of the characters, I think we have a clear winner. Well, we have Dohwa, who is introduced again as very callous, very much a person that will not associate with you unless you have something that benefits him. All of those girls that are into him, right? Whenever they approach him, it just seems like it turns sour just because of the fact that he's very not interested in people who can't help him rise up or get what he wants. Once he notices that Sue, like, can help him that's when he takes interest in her. And it does paint a different picture of him in the series later on, but that's only from Sue's lens, and nobody else knows that this is his true personality except for her.
Okay, well, my character is almost done with high school and no one seems to turn against him. Meanwhile, Wild has people actually standing outside with signs for him to leave. I don't know, no one has had the balls to say, you know, maybe Do-hwa is a terrible person. So I think he's gonna get away with it. You know, we talk about like, what'd you say? Like one stalker? There was no others, so I don't know what we're counting. We could like do the math on like how like Be The Change only has like 4,900 views and only like 61,000 likes. Like mayhem, mayflops. So stupid.
Bro, you're really digging into the stalker argument, saying that it only gives him 1 point. But in reality, there are tons of girls obsessed with like stars without them, you know, kind of breaking the law to get into their house and all. There are girls with posters all over their walls, and that would still count to his love count. And even though he has a negative personality, you still see fans, especially at the fan meet, that are still willing to try to get with Wild despite them knowing about his personality. And the fact is that he actually does have a fan base, and it's only growing. Right? And if you want to reference the numbers here, 61,000 on one video. Sure, like that's something I can't argue against. But all it takes is just one song to get famous on TikTok these days, or whatever social media they have, and bam, like they're big.
People literally are claiming that the fandom is getting so much smaller. Even if they were to go like viral on TikTok, the comments would be nothing but, oh my god, he's just sick. Just bringing up his entire past. I don't think he would get much farther than wherever the hell he is now because like he was kicked out the group. Let's cut some of those numbers off because it's a wrap for him.
Okay, you do bring up a fair point with the negative comments, but that still doesn't stop some of these very obsessed superfans. Justin Bieber, he didn't have the best of reputations. He was like caught by the police for doing things. And honestly, he still was super popular. He's still pretty popular to this day. I guess like my thing with Do-hwa though, with his personality, you say that it's hidden, right? It's hidden from all these other eyes, but the love point system doesn't account for what exactly is popular. It's whether the people like him or not. And if people eventually start to see his true colors, that number will start to dwindle down.
You know what I realized?
What do you mean?
A lot of the
What did
views
you realize?
Mayhem has, you know, I think it's payola. How come they can't get any music
Payola?
showings and those are the ones that are fan voted? Let's count those points.
Bro, listen, they don't need the wins. They just need
All
the
I'm
votes.
hearing is
All
that
the votes
Do-hwa has
can
more
calculate
points.
into numbers.
Ain't nobody
It just
dedicated
goes
in their
up
fandom.
into
They
their
are less than
count for
100
love
people
points.
at
I don't
their
get what you're
fan
talking
signs.
about, bro.
How come their stalker isn't dedicated? Let's address that.
What are you talking about? She was in his house.
Y'all got hate mail, death mail. I think that's good enough.